just going to share like certain stages that I think that depending on where you are, you can begin to bootstrap yourself, position yourself for some of these opportunities. So I'm going to start with the fact that it doesn't matter if you're an undergraduate or a graduate, the opportunities are still open for you. And one of the things I'm just going to say is the fact that it is more about the mindset than the actual thing you have on your resume. And this is what I'll basically say is the fact that you must know that you want it, right? This is not motivation. I don't have time for motivation. You must know that you really want that opportunity and actually like go for the opportunity. If you do not, if you are not desperate for it enough, it is very possible that you just wiggle through it and you don't get some of these opportunities. And the second thing I'm going to say is the fact that you must understand that you have to start from somewhere. You don't just jump from having no experience to be having an internship in Bank of America. You don't jump from having no experience to having an internship in JP Morgan, right? So you must start from somewhere. And there's this old law called the law of cumulative advantage, which is basically the fact that you want to build cumulative advantage. You want to build cumulative edge in terms of the fact that if you have 1 naira and you don't do anything with it, it stays at 1 naira. But if you invest it and every day you get 0.01 on top of it, if you compound that in 365 days, there's like you get a lot more money. I think it ends up in about close to 100 naira or something like that because of the power of compounding. So there's like that compounding effort brings that cumulative advantage, which is basically the fact that you cannot just remain where you are. You cannot just be convenient. You must want it. You must be desperate for it. And desperation here doesn't mean like using shrewd way to get what you want. It actually means that you really want to actually like you are interested in kind of like paying the price, enjoying the process, going through that process, learning the required skills and expertise that will give you an advantage in any frontiers you find yourself. So the first thing that I said is the fact that you have to start one way or the other, whether you are an undergraduate or you are a graduate, you just have to start. The second thing is the fact that you have to build cumulative advantage. So you have to build cumulative advantage. And the third thing I'm going to say is that you have to work on your expression. And this expression is in terms of, do you have the right outlets there that can put you out there in terms of your social expression, in terms of your resume, in terms of your cover letters? You just have to have that footprint out there in terms of, do I have my LinkedIn set up? And today I look at people, when I speak to people, why are you not on LinkedIn? They are going to hear stuff like, it's because of the fact that, oh, there's too much pressure, people are sharing. And it's like, you can go to the market and be carried away by the noise of the market, or you just buy what you want to buy and actually go. You understand? So imagine going to the market and you stood in the middle of the market and you are like, wow, what a big market. And you totally forgot that you came to buy something in that market. Look at how unrealistic that that is. Like you went to the market and you just stood in the middle of the market and you are actually not kind of like buying anything. You're just amazed by how big the market is. People are making transactions, profit is being made, transactions are being facilitated, trade is being facilitated, and you just standing in the market, in awe of the market, without actually doing anything in the market, doesn't translate into any return on investment for you. It's a total waste of time, it's a total waste of energy, and resources are appropriated in the wrong way. So it's like you have to set out that outlay. You have to put your feet forward in terms of your, so I'm just going to call this putting your feet forward in terms of like using your social expression, using LinkedIn, using like being able to vocalize what you want. And another problem that I find is the fact that people are carried away by the noise on LinkedIn, that they do not maximize LinkedIn. So, right, I've never been pressured about what is happening on LinkedIn. I joined LinkedIn. The only thing I had on my resume was the fact that I was a student of University of Ibadan. I think I had a good CGPA, and that was it. I never had anything on my LinkedIn. But what did I do? I go on LinkedIn, I look at people that are doing what I want to do, right? I look at their LinkedIn. Oh, this person did a certification in this. This person applied for this. They got this internship. This person did this boot camp. They did that accelerator thing. They did that this. You understand what I'm saying? And they kind of like maximize those things, and I just write them down. I look at the period, I start making my research, and I say, okay, this application is going to come out by this time. I'm not talking of Bofana, I'm not talking of DB now. I'm talking of seemingly simple things that the people that I look forward to becoming like them, that have maximized the opportunity that I look forward to maximizing. I kind of like just look at their LinkedIn, look at the way their profile is structured. That's why you will not see me write making an impact in blah 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 on my headline, because that's nonsense. It's total garbage. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you should write the sectors and the industry or the career path you've chosen, put some slash within there, and it makes it simple, not complex to read. That if I'm scrolling, I can see that Adejoke Rodiat is interested in finance, social impact, and strategic initiative, not a undergraduate student of UI on your headline. Like, like, it doesn't make any sense. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you want to make it as brief, as concise as possible, and so much so that if James is scrolling, if anyone is scrolling, they can easily get a full grasp of what you are interested in, and it stores in their subconscious that this is what Adejoke is interested in. You understand what I'm saying? So you want to put that outlay out there, and it makes it easy for you. And also the resume. And there was someone said something that was quite interesting, which is the fact that if you cannot explain yourself, or if your resume cannot give expression to who you are in a one-page format, the person doubts if you can do that in a physical interview or in a virtual interview. If somebody cannot get a rough perception of you, of what you've been doing and how you've been doing it, or what you've achieved as a snippet format on your one-pager resume, bro, sis, you can't articulate it in an interview. You want to make your resume speak in such a way that it becomes easy for people to say that I love this resume I'm seeing and I want to speak to this person. Are you get what I'm saying? I love this resume I'm seeing and I want to speak to this person. That's how interesting it has to be in terms of like simple, concise that your resume is. So that's why you have sections on LinkedIn that help you to kind of like understand this. And one of the things I say to people, going back to putting your feet forward from cumulative advantage, is the fact that many people think they have to have like a big opportunity on their resume for them to get this global internship. So let me break your bubble now. These HRs, they hire for character and they train for competence. You will never have, you understand what I'm saying when you are opportune to get these programs, that you don't even have the prerequisite skills to function maximally on some of these programs. Like, you are competing with students from Oxford, you are competing with students from UK top university, US top university, Paris top universities. And it's like, bro, you don't have the right skills. You are even disadvantaged from the kind of school you come from. Like, you are even disadvantaged from the kind of world you come from. So you have to find what is the right edge that can actually set me apart in a bid for me to actually like show that I understand what I'm doing. And that's like the character and the way you portray yourself on your resume in terms of simple things as attention to details. Know your dates dancing around. You have Feb, Feb, and in another place you have it as February. You have MAR, March. You and another place you have it as March. It's like this person is not coordinated. They don't have a good grasp of the way they arrange stuff. You understand what I'm saying? You use approximation, approximate word unnecessary, abbreviate word unnecessarily in context that they have to be explicit. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, I hope that you people talk about resume and all that. And I'm just going to do some introduction as I go on. So I'm opportune to be one of the people that is working with African Student Network, and we've done a couple of webinars on resume writing, cover letter writing. To be fair, there's a lot of content out there that can help you write a good resume. You understand what I'm saying? And you have the influence of AI, which is basically the fact that you can give an experience to ChatGPT and you just blab to ChatGPT. I did this on my internship at this, and we had 50 people came for the, sorry, I did this in organizing a conference in my department. We have 50 people came for the conference, and we had 15 speakers, and I was in charge of operations and event management. Give me a two-liner points that I can add to this experience on my resume. Use numbers that I've provided, and you are going to see the wonders ChatGPT is going to do for you. And you are going to see something like coordinated a top event in the department, gathering 60 people with 5 speakers across the continent or across the nation. And this leads me to the fourth thing I want to say, which is the fact that it's never about what you want to say, it's always about how you say it. When I talk to people that are young like myself, one of the things that I tell them is the fact that people oftentimes are more concerned about the way you made them feel at the end of the day, right? So there are certain people that you cannot remember the exact thing they said to you that was bad, but you remember how they made you feel. So, and that feeling matters much. You get what I'm saying? And when it comes to articulating yourself, no one is going to be your evangelist. You are the best person that can articulate yourself. You are the best person that can give expression to your vision. You are the best person that can sell yourself in the way that you should be sold. So you've got to work on this in the sense that it's never about what you want to say, it's always about how you say it. I remember because I was working with Nestle when I got my internship in Bank of America. And so that means I didn't have Nestle on my resume. That means I didn't have Chevron on my resume, right? That means what was on my resume then? I did some class project. I did one internship during COVID, and I didn't even think I put it on my resume, but I was volunteering for a couple of stuff within the campus, and I put it there. And I remember them asking me a question, and I recently just got selected. Then I just got selected as a team lead to coordinate what we call it TIMP, the ISR mentoring project in UI while I was on campus then. And what this stuff is about is basically connecting um, new students who are freshers, connecting them with Staylight in order for us to basically kind of like make sure that they have a good experience central to their academics, central to their campus life, and maximize building skills for the future. Those are the three visions that we had, and we had to come up with like a metrics of evaluating and matching and pairing them up with their mentors so that it is not biased and you don't give somebody that doesn't really need something central to academics. You give them a super smart person, but the person doesn't have a good social life and the person doesn't have a good grasp of building skills. So we wanted a balanced matrix whereby the mentor and the mentee benefit from the experience. And that was one of the experience that was on my resume. And I had to talk about it, right? And you want to imagine the way I talked about it in terms of seemingly simple things that I did, like thinking of a pairwise way to assign mentors to mentees, and basically me having my metrics of evaluation of the mentees and having a metrics of evaluation for the mentors, and actually like pairing them together based on that metrics. And I faced challenge of people trying to compromise the process, and I had to reinstate the process, the reason why we are going through what we are going through and why we must not compromise the process, and analyzing the impact of the program before and after, using the previous set and the new set, and actually knowing that I was able to help students, 40% of the students, like there was 40% increase in the CGPA of the students, and explain the metrics through which I was able to calculate the student have a better social life on campus, and student have like a good grasp of what they want to do even after school, and positioning themselves for the skill of the future. So look at me talking about this. Yeah, like it's like I work for a company and I'm talking about certain KPIs that I used to measure what I was doing. I'm talking about working with people. I'm talking about the challenges I faced, about people trying to compromise the process. And it's like you just see somebody that has that potential, somebody that has that character, and you want to that person to come on board. So it's never about how big the experience is, as it were. It's always about how you project the experience. And I'm going to give you a 2 cents here, which is basically the fact that there are we have like male and female in relationships, right? And it's like ultimately a lady wants to be proposed to by a guy. He knows the guy is going to marry her, but the guy wants to create some sort of like, the lady has some sort of like an expectation in her mind, and the guy wants to kind of like meet that expectation and most times exceed that expectations. So the guy is putting a lot of plan, even though the lady knows that this guy is gonna propose somehow. But like you want to give the person the best of experience so that when they give birth, they can tell their children how sweet their dad was. And it's like that is just what it is. The same word, you can say it in a restaurant and say, I want to marry you, be my wife. And she's going to still accept, but you can go across the bound and not how expensive it is, but like doing it in a way that's unexpected, interesting, fascinating. It leaves a wonderful experience in the mind of the lady, and that stays with her forever in terms of like how it's going to be done. And little did you know, that's why some people don't put their proposal video online, because it doesn't make any sense to them. They are happy that they are engaged, but it's not interesting and fascinating for them to even put online in the first place. You understand what I'm saying? So people have expectation. There's a way that they want to hear things. There's a way that they want to perceive things. And you want to be able to sell yourself, not in the way that you feel like you should be sold, but in the way that you understand the context of the receiver of that message, that they want to hear that message. So an example could be that you are going to a conference and the question is, what do I want to get out of this conference? And it's like, I just want as many people to understand the brand that I'm building for myself. And you are going to a career exposition, or this career fair is like you want to get a job. The introductions for those two events are different. An example could be, oh, my name is Stolani Kasali. So this is Stalanis Kasali's resume, and it's quite interesting. LinkedIn, and it's quite interesting. We see she's a member of Nuesa Unilag. She's done client support management at Exivia. She's a student of Unilag. She's graduated from Unilag. And I'm like Tolani Kasali, and I'm on a I'm going to a conference, and my goal is that I want to project myself as a qualified accountant and a qualified chartered accountant, and like I'm actually qualified. I have my AAT, and probably she's done a ICANN and all this kind of stuff, and she's looking for opportunity central to that. And this is me as Stolani Zainab Kasali. So my name is Stolani Zainab Kasali, a final year student of the Great Citadel of Knowledge, University of Lagos, and I had the opportunity of working with diversified companies central to accounting and finance, and I've been able to build solidified experience in that area. What I'm looking forward to doing in the next few years is looking for a company that is interested in my growth in terms of building and actually practicing as a chartered accountant, in order for me to embellish my experience in that front as and position myself for new industry trends such as private equity or venture capital and all those kind of stuff. And that's like, I just want you to have like a brand of Omotolani in your head, that Tolani is an accounting person. She's into finance. She's into, you understand what I'm saying? But if she's just going for a conference, it's easier because, oh, my name is Tolani Kasali. I'm super excited to be here. And I'm an accountant, and I'm a student of Unilag, and I've been able to do this, do that. And this conference actually excites me because of this, that. So you see that there's no sales in one, and there's actually sales in one. One, I'm looking for something, I'm looking for a company that is interested in my growth, and the other is like I'm looking for something else. It's like I'm not even looking for anything central to like the conference. So you want to know how the context really matters in the way that you project yourself, and that changes everything ultimately, right? So it's like you want to be sure that you understand the context. You want to be sure that you are projecting yourself in the appropriate way, and you actually have the right you actually have the right words to use. And sometimes practice it, put the action in, and ensure that you're actually like improving it each and every time that you actually do it. And it's like you don't want to wait till the opportunity come until you practice some of these things, right? And you have to like stay in the thought of actually understanding it and actually putting the action in so that you can be able to project it when the time is needed. So that's another thing I'm going to say, which is basically, it's never about what you want to say, it's always how you say it. And most importantly, searching for some of this opportunity. And I'm going to recommend a website which is called Bright Network. I'm just going to show you guys. So if you come to Bright Network and you basically come to internships, let's say find an internship. you can basically like see a lot of firms, both not locally now, globally, that are recruiting and in different locations. So for us from Nigeria or any African country, I advise you focus on EMEA region recruitment because of like complexity of visa in the US and other areas. So you want to focus on EMEA region like you know what EMEA, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and all that. So you want to focus on those kind of areas. And if you are looking for a graduate job, so you are saying, and you can check, some of them do not have visa sponsorship. Don't waste your time applying for them. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like you just want to be sure that you're applying for the right stuff. And if you're a graduate already, and that was what I was saying in the beginning, that you're not disadvantaged if you're a graduate. There are opportunities depending on the sector that you want. So depending on sector, so if I say financial services even subdivided, you have accounting, blah 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 like that, and you see that it keeps changing because I've selected accounting, by pure pension and insurance, it changes again, and you can actually like use this to create a career tracker or an application tracker whereby you know what you actually want to apply for ahead of the time. You have your deadlines, you have people reviewing your applications already, and you can strategically position yourself even ahead of the tides. So you people are looking forward to like Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, RBC, Bloomberg. It's like you can create an Excel sheet, you have this tracker, and it's easier for you to actually say, okay, this is what I'm applying for. I'm not distracted by the noise. I'm applying for these 7 firms or these 10 firms or these 15 firms. This is their deadline. These are my cover letter. These are the people that are going to review it for me. You do it in a structured way, like somebody that really wants to get something out of that particular experience. So that's another thing, which is basically strategically planning and positioning yourself for some of these opportunities. And I think I'm coming. Strategic planning and positioning for those opportunities. And I think that changes everything. It's different from somebody that is just trying to gamble their way through some of these opportunities. They see Bank of America, they apply 2 days to the submission deadline. They see Goldman, they apply 2 days to the submission deadline. And it's just a haphazard, not targeted opportunity maximization techniques. So you want to be sure that you are planning ahead, you know what you want. It's not that you see that they are doing operations, you apply. You see that they are doing investment banking, you apply. You see that they are doing audits, you apply. There's no focus, there's no precision and accuracy in your execution. You want to know, okay, from that LinkedIn stuff we spoke about, I'm interested in finance, I'm interested in operations. So you want to look for roles that involve finance and operations, which is more like middle office roles or back office roles and all those kind of stuff. You are not interested in client facing. So if you're interested in core finance client facing role, you might be looking at like investment banking, sales and trading, and couple of other stuff, applying to quant roles and all those kind of things. And you strategically position yourself to know that these are the firms I want to apply for. These are the firms I don't want to apply for. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like if you're interested in sales and operations, you might want to think of Bloomberg. If you're interested in analytics, you might want to think of Bloomberg. You might want to think of a couple of other like boutique firms that are like in finance, like Jane Street, couple of them, and you can easily plan ahead, know what the application process looks like, and it's easier for you to actually kind of like apply for them because you can speak to people that have gone through that route before. They can help you look at your resume, they can prep you up and also give you those stuff. So it's like be strategic, plan plan. If you do not plan, it's like you are running like somebody that is beating the air without any form of precision. So you want to be sure that you have some sort of like precision, you have some sort of like targets that you are eating at. I'm applying for 10 global opportunity this year. These are the roles I'm applying for. This is the person that is reviewing my cover letter. This is the person that is reviewing my resume. Does this resume align with what I'm applying for? And you have to understand sometimes you have to get rid of some experience because they are not crucial to what you are doing, right? It's going to basically discourage the person reviewing the application not to even give you a shot. You understand what I'm saying? And don't self-sabotage yourself when you get opportunities to interview, right? Like, so the funny thing is that when I speak to people, people are going to say, "Oh, James, you're an engineering student. Why are you interested in working with a financial service firm?" And it's like, that's so impossible to get. Or somebody coming from like medical background trying to get into like a financial service firm, it's like they self-sabotage themselves even before applying for some of this opportunity. Hence, they cannot tell the right story. Are you get what I'm saying? So it's like you want to know that I want this thing and this is the reason why I'm doing it. There is tech there, there is market in investment banking, there is audit in investment banking, there is payments in investment banking, there is operations in investment banking. There are a lot of roles. It's because of you do not have the prerequisites knowledge about a couple of these firms. That's why you don't even know, right? So it's like even within when I interned in Nestle and Chevron, they have finance role in Chevron. So your goal could be working in an oil and gas firm as a finance person. Your goal could be working in a fast moving consumer good firm as a lawyer. It just depends on you knowing that the opportunity exists and actually strategically positioning yourself for the opportunities. Are you get what I'm saying? I was speaking and reviewing some testimonies from our just concluded GIIS, which is Global Internship Insight Series in ASN. And one of the guys that got an opportunity is speaking to the guy, and this person got an opportunity in Meta doing something like production engineering. And this is like production engineering, not like producing something, production engineering in terms of software production. And I was amazed because I never knew that was even a possibility from Nigeria. Because if you, and the person was like, they joined the call, they figured out that the opportunity is boundless, they figured out the areas to search for the opportunity and they found it, they prepared for it, spoke to people on LinkedIn, do like some sort of like a personalized invite on LinkedIn, and they were able to get the person's attention and all that. So like you never know, the opportunities are boundless. In our just concluded GIS, somebody was invited from RBC. She did finance there. I think she's the first person I know that did RBC, which is Royal Bank of Canada. I and a friend from Ghana. He works in New York now with Bloomberg, and we were the first set of Africans that interned with Deutsche Bank. And it's like if you do not apply, you don't get it. You understand what I'm saying? So you might be thinking Africans don't get it, but like you never applied for it. You understand what I'm saying? So you think it is not possible, but if you apply for it, let them reject you. That's the worst thing that can happen. You understand what I'm saying? But it's like apply for it, position yourself, speak to people, and the opportunities are boundless. So getting internships, what else do I want to say? So probably some tips for interview could be you can never over prepare for interviews. And it's like put your best foot forward strategically position yourself for these interviews. And what do I mean? Like, don't start asking questions. Should I dress formal or not? You cannot overdress. Nothing like overdressing when it comes to corporate. Wear a good shirt, pressed shirt. If you have a tie, use it. If you don't have a tie, make sure your shirt is good. If you're a lady, you just need like a simple gown or something like that. Position your camera well. Don't let Nigeria happen to you that day. If you don't have a laptop, borrow a laptop. I remember my first internship when I got like the assessment center for Bank of America. People were like, yeah, it's not, you won't get it. It's very difficult. They don't know a lot of people. I got internship like 2020, 2021-ish. Like there were not a lot of people the way it is now that had internships and all that. So it's like people were not minting offers then and all those kind of stuff. So it's like I didn't even me, I didn't know anybody that did the internship before. You understand what I'm saying? Aside from a couple of guys that I was speaking to that are already in the firm that I found them on LinkedIn or meet them through like the bridge program and the likes. So it's like gave my clothes to a dry cleaner. I had my shirts ironed. I never said, oh, I'm going to wing it through because people said the possibility. So it's like, even if I won't get it, it won't be that I will not start thinking that I did not get it because of probably I was wearing a t-shirt. You know, like I don't want that to be part of the excuse that I'm going to have in my mind of the reason why I didn't get it. It could be something else, but it will never be clothes. You understand what I'm saying? You want to press your t-shirt well. I borrowed my friend's laptop because my laptop was not even the best at that point because I didn't want anything to happen to me. I borrowed a MiFi. That was how serious I was with it because it's like you never get the opportunity to give a better impression. And unfortunately, I had internet issue at the first one, right? The first call because it was like 30 minutes and all that. I had internet issue, and I'm going to talk about some of this process in this interview soon. I had internet issue, but I did not blame myself because I knew I tried my best in terms of putting everything in place. And they called me through phone, like phone call, and we did the interview. For the second one, I already sorted out my internet and everything went fine. So it's like even in that unpleasant situation, it's like I had my stuff figured out in terms of I will not like imagine that happened and I did not have the MiFi. I did not have an alternative of using my phone hotspot. Like I just had this plethora of options there, and I was able to set things up for the second one, and it worked very well. So it's like you don't want to start having this. It's some sort of like a buyer's remorse when you buy things that you don't need, and you get home with them, and you feel like, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do again? Why did I buy this? And it's like you're looking at your bank account and you're like, you made a very worst or a very bad decision buying that. So it's like you want to ensure that you put your best foot forward, you articulate yourself properly. There's nothing like an introvert or a ambivert, all these names that we give to ourselves. It's like if you need something desperately, you are going to project yourself properly. So there's nothing like I'm an introvert, I'm shy, I don't know how to speak. People learn how to speak, people learn how to articulate themselves. As long as it is teachable and learnable, you can do it. I know certain people that are more introverted, that are more like ambiverts and all that, and not very extrovert. But when you see them, they are speaking on calls, you are trying to say, is this the person I know off camera? Because now their future is on the at stake, because this is not about being introverted or extroverted. It's about you articulating and position yourself properly. So most times you get like a depending if you are into tech, if you are into finance, if you are into tech, you might get like coding interviews, pseudo coding interviews. You can get like common ones are like you get behavioral interviews, you get competence based interview. Tell me about a time that was this, tell me about a time that you did that, tell me your proudest moments, your greatest moments, why do you want to join us, tell us about yourself. Couple of interesting question like that, and you can basically use Glassdoor and say Bank of America internship question, Bloomberg internship questions, and you're going to see like a lot of tell me about yourself. And the thing is that never cram answers, right? Never try it. It doesn't work for anybody. I don't know. It doesn't work. I don't think it works. You understand what I'm saying? Just practice as much as possible. You don't have to know all the questions they will ask you, because they are not asking you question about somebody else. They're asking you question about yourself, right? So it's like if you're asking me question about myself, tell me about my proudest moment. It's like I just have to think of one of those experiences, because the person doesn't even know if that was my proudest moment. I just have to tell you that was my proudest moment, probably when I got admission. Like, and that might probably not be my proudest moment. I might probably tell you that when I got my first internship, bro, that was not my proudest moment. You understand what I'm saying? I don't think I have any proudest moments in terms of it changes all the time depending on the cycle of my life that I am. But now I have to talk about something. Or they say, tell me about your greatest failure. Or let me say, your greatest weakness. And this is the one that people, yeah, kind of like find very stressful to do, which is like, oh, this time people say I don't have any weakness. You have a weakness. You understand what I'm saying? And an example could be I myself perceive myself as a perfectionist. And it's like, how can I turn the table around? Not to focus too much on the problem, but the person to see that I'm actually working on the problem. So I say something like, oh, I find myself as somebody that is a perfectionist, which makes me actually have a good advantage of paying attention to details and make sure things work as good as possible before we actually roll them out. Sometimes this can affect me in terms of my time management and execution skills. I perceive this as a weakness and I'm trying to work on it by ensuring that I have accountability partner. I set deadline to things that I want to do and ensure that I actually roll them out and iteratively improve over them. One of the things I'm also doing is to do this. So you see, I'm talking about a weakness, but you as a person, you are seeing it as a strength that if I have this guy on a team, if I really want somebody that pays attention to details, I want somebody that is critical with being perfect. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like you are now like saying, it's a weakness. He's conscious of the fact that he has the weakness and is actually working on it. He's putting stuff in place. And it's different from somebody else came into the interview and said, I don't have any weakness. Bro, it's like, you understand what I'm saying? So it's like, it doesn't just make sense. So it's like we have the behavioral interview, competence-based interview, technical interview. For people in investment banking, they get to ask you like technical questions, and you want to also build mastery. If you haven't started, build consistency. If you've started, build mastery. So there are stages. You don't start building mastery when you're not consistent in something yet. You understand what I'm saying? So build consistency, build competence, then build mastery. So that's the stage of learning something. So if you're just getting into sales and trading, markets, tech, consulting, core engineering internship, just know the basics, build consistency. I'm going to dedicate 30 minutes every day to improve myself central to this frontier. And you build consistency in learning. You read news. It doesn't have to be when you want to prepare for the interview that you read the news. Some people, they are economics students, but if you ask them basic question on macroeconomics, they cannot articulate it properly. How does a country's macro indexes, how does it affect the outlay of the economy? They cannot connect inflation with the number of jobs in the country. They cannot connect it with like the underlying factor that causes those things and say, okay, this is how it's going to affect this is how it's going to affect that. Those basic things, when you put it into the bigger picture, it makes a whole lot of difference. You understand? And you don't have to be an economics student. If you say you're interested in finance, you have to learn it. If you say you're interested in consulting, there are certain jargons that consultants use that you also have to learn. So I think I'll just stop there and we can probably touch on some other things
And
in Q&A session.
you have to say. So we'll be going to the Q&A part. We have some questions that we got through the Google form that we set. So what exactly are companies looking for? And I think James had said before that most times they pick character and then build competence. So I don't know. So what are companies actually looking for? Because I know that people will say, oh, I don't have any experience, so will they pick me? I don't have that, I don't have that. However, we tend to, let's say, neglect our volunteer roles. So if you can actually shed more light on that, James. What
Yeah,
exactly are companies looking for?
yeah, that's a good question. Thank you. So I think one thing I said that before is basically the hire for character and train for competence. So there's this whole thing about the fact that you can learn anything, right? So I work in a financial service firm and I do like basically market data. So I have the data skills, but my product knowledge is not very great, right? And arguably, I probably know a lot of things than an average economics graduate central to like economics and all that. But like when it comes to the job, I saw the gap between what I actually know and what I need to know. And like I have to take like quant programs, I have to take like quant marathons, I have to do like courses in financial engineering and the likes in order to bridge that gap, right? So it's like James has the skills and expertise to do the data job. He writes excellent code. He knows how to manipulate data. He knows how to write pipelines. He knows how to do data strategy. But he's not just doing data strategy. He's not doing data engineering. He's not doing like all this complex data stuff for anyhow data. He's doing it for the market's data. These are data that helps the traders and the salespeople to make the decision. Hence, he has to bridge the gap in terms of his product knowledge. Hence, I have to take those interesting courses so that I can build those gaps. So it's like they do not have a problem fundamentally with the fact that, oh, he doesn't have all the products knowledge skills, or like he has to be a super good guy when it comes to derivative product and all those kind of stuff. But he has something that we can work with. And he has shown trajectory of, he did not just arrive at where he is in his programming skills. He has certain other skills that could make a difference and he has learned them over time and become better with them over time. So it's like a track record of the fact that this person can pick up new skills. So stuff's like, I had interest in this and I'm doing this. So an example could be, oh, my name is James. I have interest in big data and analytics, and I've been able to build up my skills central to this, that. I'm looking forward to improving my skills with this experience and also to learn as much as possible so that I can position myself for a career in the future. And you just see that they are speaking that willingness to learn, those intrinsic character that you cannot impact in people. You cannot teach people willingness to learn. It's either you are willing to learn or you are not. You understand what I'm saying? You can't teach them continuous improvement. It's either they have it or they don't have it. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like those eccentric character of saying that I'm willing to learn this. I'm currently learning this. I identify this gap and I'm doing this to solve that problem. So those are like some character that they look for. Even on your resume, they can tell that you have those eccentric characters, and they can actually say that if we bring this person, if you look at them every year, they always have a certification they've taken. It shows that this person has like this inherent interest to improve themselves. And if we actually bring them on board, they have a high chance of actually doing that. If you look at like let's say the experience, their volunteering experiences, they did not just stay as member in any organization they took up opportunities to take leadership. They were member for a year, let's say in SFC, then they become a senior analyst, or I don't know the way those people call themselves, and they become a director of something. So that can be a game changer. It's like, no, this person improves themselves, because for them to grow across this ladder is indicative of the fact that they actually have like that inherent
Okay.
zeal for them
Yeah.
to improve themselves.
Thank you very. Yeah. Someone's asking that, how did you get your Bank of America intern role? So you just under like 1 minute, please, because of that time. Thank you.
Yeah, so how did I get it? I applied. Right?
I know you applied, but then
Yeah.
was there anything like special, or was there anything that made you feel that yes, I got in this role? Don't worry. But like, what was the difference? Like, you just
I think,
like Bank of America is just it's a big frame and all. So like, what was the difference
yeah,
basically?
I think it's all about like um preparing yourself for the interview, talking to people that have done it before, preparing for those questions and every other edge cases that they may likely ask, the technicals, improving your technicals, also writing good essays, because they don't get to talk to you first. If it would have been good, like if your application was like the HR will be talking to you first. What they see first is your cover letters, your essay answers, your resume. So you want to make it like look the best. You understand what I'm saying? And there are like a lot of I said that it's like there are like a lot of opportunity. Probably if young finance leaders, this community wants to like probably invite people that are experts in resume writing, they can share some tips with you. But these are things that necessarily it's not very complex to know how to write a good resume. If it's worst case scenario, reach out to somebody that has a good resume, use their resume to model your own. Some of your classmates have a better resume, and you can just model your own across that with your own experience. So I think that's pretty much like it.
Yeah.
Nothing really. Yeah.
Yes. So let me take some questions in the chat box. So someone says that she has a question around having the right to work in a country. Like some will say they have the right to work in UK and all, and she's always confused about that. Like, did she say yes or no? So you could also shed more light on that.
Yeah, so when they ask that question, the question doesn't always stop there. Do you have the right? No. Would you require a sponsorship? Yes. And what type of sponsorship? Ask the people that have done it before. I'm not too like the internships I did, I was opportune that it was sponsored. So I didn't even have to like do any interview. I just show up and do biometrics. So they have like these external like firms that handle, and they just like sort everything out, and you just have to show up for like the interviews. Nothing really complex. But if you say you're looking for an internship, you don't have a passport, it still like you don't know what you are doing. If you're looking for a global internship, the only thing you need is to have your passport, and put no there. I don't have the right to work. I need a sponsorship. And they can ask you like, what visa type would you need? Ask people that have done it before. I think for the UK, it will be the tier 2 visa. For the US, it will be H1B or something like that. But like, I strongly advise people staying in the EMEA region for such kind of opportunity. The sponsorships are quite easier.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope that person got the answer. So someone is asking that most times she finds herself stuck in writing purpose statements and really channeling a response to what the firm wants. So how does she go about it?
The thing about this stuff is the fact that when people ask you why, the reason why they are asking you why is like, and I like to bring it down also to like young people like us when we talk to like the opposite gender. It's like if your girlfriend is asking you why, they really want to know why they are special, right? So it's like people do not ask you why for the fun of it. They're asking you why because they want to know why it is like why is it important. So you know that there are thousands of people that are going to get the same question of why that firm or why should they choose you in that school. So you want to really make your research, and you should not just go and copy their core value and come and paste it back for them. They know their core values. You don't have to tell them their core values. So it's like you want them to see their core values in you. So, and this is the way I ask the question. So when people ask me this question, or when I want to write essay, I ask myself back the question. So let's say Bank of America is asking you, why Bank of America? You ask the question, what's in me for Bank of America that aligns with their vision? So even though I love to play table tennis, I'm arguably one of the best around. Like Bank of America doesn't give a shit about me playing table tennis. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not an important tool or an important credential about myself that I bring to the table. It's like I have to show, okay, I'm a good programmer, I'm passionate about technology, and I think this aligns with the 4 billion annual investment in technology that Bank of America actually does. You see that the way that I'm looking for what's in me for Bank of America that aligns with their vision, that aligns. So if you can ask the question back, whether it be a school, whether it be a program, you can actually say, okay, what's in me for MIT that would require them to pick me? I get what I'm saying. Wasn't me for, I don't know, like any firm, Bloomberg, whatever it is that is called, that will allow them to pick me. And you can easily use that to fine tune your response, and it makes more sense. And sometimes leaving it and looking at it again, giving it to a second eye could let them correct you. And you can also look up the STAR approach, which is the situation, the task, the action, and the result. When was the time that you did something like this, and you use that to actually project your answers.
Someone's asking is CGPA a requirement to apply for internships?
Yeah, so CGPA is a requirement to apply for internship. You must have at least a 2-1. If you don't have a 2-1, some company won't allow you. But it's like if you're in 300 level and you don't have a 2-1, but you have a plan to improve your CGPA, I would still say you should apply, to be fair, because it's like, but be honest about it, right? If they will not choose you, they will not choose you. But don't eliminate yourself when you have not been eliminated. And this is what I tell people is like, if you can get a good CGPA, just get it. But if it's off the table, just focus on other experiences that you can use to get into those bigger firms if you want to really get there. So it's like, it's not a disqualifying thing, but it's like they put it on the application clearly that you must have 2-1. So I think they take it seriously.
Okay, thank you very much. If there's like one thing you just said now that really like did like stood up for you is don't eliminate yourself if you have not been eliminated. Some people feel like I'm not even going to try. Just don't bother, because I know of someone that was on 2-2 and then he didn't apply like to the normal process, normal link and fill form. He went to LinkedIn to
Mhm.
actually speak to
People.
somebody. And then he now told this person all his skills and how he can be valuable to the company. Like what you're trying to like put out, even someone that has a 2-1 of first class might not have that skills.
Yeah.
But he like all the time has already like built up his skill on this thing, and he now went to like to put himself out on LinkedIn. He didn't actually go to the point of, oh, we're applying, they pick me, maybe not, maybe not. So if you know that, okay, you are on 2-2 or something, or probably you are a graduate already and finish on 2-2, just work on improving your skill in that
Mhm.
area of expertise. Yeah, thank you. So
I think
someone saying,
you can actually, sorry, you can actually read Tony Elumelu's story. So Tony Elumelu did not meet the criteria to join. I don't know what Union Bank was called then, but he didn't meet the criteria to join Union Bank. And I think he walked into the bank and he told them what he has, just like he was saying, and he got the opportunity and he proved himself, in short, to buying stocks and eventually being the highest stakeholder in Union Bank, or is it UBA Bank today. So
okay, so yeah, thank you very much. So someone's asking, what is the best strategy for having a successful IRView experience? So for those who don't know what IRView is like a pre-recorded form of interview whereby you have to record yourself and then they will do it at a later time. So it's not like a live interview that will like be asking a question and I'll be answering you instantly. So IRView is like you record it and then they view it and then grade you. So now someone's asking, what is the best strategy for acing an IRView interview or having a successful IRV experience?
I think the first thing is take it like a serious interview. Look at the camera. You have like, I think 30 seconds between it to prepare. That's not the best time to prepare, to be fair. So most times I don't use it to prepare. I just click continue and answer my question, because that's not the best time to prepare for the question. So
Yeah.
if you don't have the answer figured out before, then you probably cannot articulate it well at that point. So it's like, look at the camera. Don't look timid because there's no someone on the other end. I'm quite
Mhm.
used to having conversation where there's like response, but now it's like you're speaking to just like something you cannot even see. So, and also one of the things I think they use is that use the right words in terms of, if you're applying for investment banking and you're applying for certain finance role, there are certain words that you have to show or put into the way you articulate your stuff that might make your stuff actually stand out, because they actually see those videos. And sometimes I know, like with the incept of AI, it's going to be a lot more easier that they can analyze certain things from your video clips and they can get certain inferences out of it. You understand what I'm saying? That even qualifies them to review it in the first place. So you want to, and this is similar for resume, use certain keywords that are really important that makes your resume stand out at the same time for your video. But I know many firms actually watch the video and they make the decision. So you want to act as if you're actually speaking to someone. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's correct. Thank you very much. So someone's asking that if she has no physical experience, like internship experience, but she has like many virtual experience internships, can she put it on her CV as experience in?
Yes,
Yeah.
So I would rather put it as certification, but it's like what I say is that the distance between where you are and where you want to be is learning. Like you don't pay to volunteer; those are real physical experience, right? So if you did, I know there's a Forsage or what is it called, Forage or something like that, where people do like a lot of actual like internship stuff. Probably do one or two. You don't have to do 10. Probably just do one or two of those things and put it as your certification. Put your project there that you did, quantify the project, but look for, if you're still an undergraduate, look for opportunities to volunteer for a real thing, right? And I would pick somebody that has an experience with SFC rather than somebody that just did a certification in forage or something. But if you
Yeah.
have both, it's now like a plus. I know that you have a physical experience and you have that particular stuff. And sometimes work to companies, it doesn't have to be ARM or KPMG or Bank of America. 100 level, don't start saying you want to enter BOFA. You understand what I'm saying? Like, do simple internships. It might be with a small consulting firm in your university. It might be outside of university. Do something small. Sell the experience properly, and it changes everything.
Yeah. So thank you. So someone's asking, what are the technical skills that are needed before applying for an internship? Can you just list them? Just list because
It,
of our
dep-
time. Like,
it depends on your. It depends on the kind of role. So when I interned at Bank of America, I worked in tech and ops, right? And that was basically you need to have basic analytic skills. You need to have an understanding of how the trade life cycle works. You need to have basic finance knowledge, nothing too
mhm.
complex. You need to good communication skills, good presentation skills, and you need to understand the way the market works and all that. If you're in investment banking, you need to know your valuation and modeling techniques very well. You need to understand how different cash flow techniques works. You need to understand how different model works. If you're in quant and like related to what I do now, market data and all that, you have to be very solid in your programming, specifically Python or C++, and you have to be very good in like aligning that with the product and all those kind of things. And that makes it a little bit easier.
Okay. So how do I blend the use of ChatGPT prompts and making your statements as natural as possible?
Yeah, to be fair, I naturally do not advise ChatGPT, but I know that because ChatGPT is around, people are inclined to use it. So it would be self-deception for us to say people should not use it. But it's like your intellectual quotient is very important because the moment you write it by yourself, you own the story, right? But sometimes you cannot find the right words. And that's why I say that just rant to ChatGPT and let it, and you even have the voice stuff now that you can use on ChatGPT. You can tell it about your experience at whatever firm and you can tell it to write a two-liner point of the summary of that experience. So like don't be too dependent on it. At the same time, maximize it. So this is not a time that you should be scared of saying you use ChatGPT because like that's what it is. Like that's where we are moving to, which is like democratizing AI for maximum and optimal usage. Yeah.
Yeah. So another question. Most of the global internship roles I see out there are for penultimate students. How can a final year student or a recent graduate find these global internship or sponsored entry roles?
So I got my first internship when I was going to 300 level. Got my second one when I was like almost I was going to 500. But it's like I don't care. Apply. Like
Exactly.
I know
I don't care whether it's for
yeah.
undergraduate. I used to apply. I used to. That's why I said like always put your foot forward. You
There was
said it
someone
earlier.
I know that got
Yeah.
it during their NYSC, and there are people that I know that got it after graduating. So,
Yeah.
so you never
Yeah.
get
So,
you never get to win a lottery if you don't play. So,
yeah. And actually, like I said before, don't eliminate yourself without being eliminated. So that way you feel like like I'm already in year four, so that's all for me. Just move away. No, apply. Like the worst thing is that you get a rejection and you move on. More rejections, you move on. That's good. So I'll be moving to another one. So how can I start building my career in finance as a beginner?
I think the first thing is understanding what you are getting into, and I'm going to share something called the Investment Management Foundation folder. Is by CFA. I think everyone should read that. And if you are interested in finance or you want to do anything serious with finance, you should read and know that thing back to back. It's like, I think about 9 slides. It was free before, so I downloaded it then and I kept it in my drive. So I'm going to share it with R. I don't know if you guys have like a community you can share with them.
Yes, we do. Okay.
Yeah, so you just understand the basics of finance, understand the different areas in finance, and pick it where you want to go, and then put the what are they calling it? Put the work in that area. So if you're interested in investment banking, understand how the investment banking work. If you're interested in the financial market, understand how the financial markets work. Understand the different part of the financial market and where you want to actually like. I would say generalize first before specializing because most of the roles that you get is more general. So understand the way the entire system works, and then build basic skill like good Excel skills. It's a good thing to know how to code in Python for people that are going to the financial market side of things. And because things are moving like very fast paced, I tell you from somebody that works in the industry, and even an average trader writes code, an average salesperson writes code, not to talk of like if you are like actually building stuffs for them to actually use them to value their risk and all those kind of things. So it's like build basic skills like that and know how to articulate it well, work on your communication, your presentation skills, and talk to people, look at what they are doing, work on competitions in your schools, volunteer for organization within your school. If you join investment banking society, student finance club, go to all their meetings, learn as much as possible, speak to people that have done internships before, read news, understand basic things about the market and basic things about the industries, and you're good, to be fair.
Okay, thank you very much. So I was asking that most companies in Nigeria require NYC before you can apply. How can one go around it?
To be fair, they don't require most of them. There are many that don't need NYC. There are a couple of startups
Yeah,
that don't need NYC. So
yeah.
on my LinkedIn, I don't put like a couple of startups I worked with, but from year 3 to year 5, I was working with different startups, sometimes two, both locally and abroad. And most of them, some of them were edtech, some of them were fintechs, mostly fintechs, and most of them were YC firms. So what I do was that because I go to Y Combinator websites. I look for the firms that are doing well because I want to get paid properly so that I can live a good life. And I basically DM their HR on LinkedIn and I send my resume. So there's this stuff called personalized invite on LinkedIn. I don't know if you can use it. You can probably raise your hands or just give me a thumbs up if you can use it. So the way it works is in such a way that you kind of like let me try do it with us. So you come here, you see this more. Okay. Because I'm using a computer, but if you're not using a computer, if you click connect, it tells you add a note. Then I can add a note and tell, if Amotolani was like a recruiter, I can tell her my name is James and I have interest in this, and I'm currently like I've built my expertise in this. If you don't mind, I want to speak to you about what I could offer. Or I'm looking for opportunity central to this, that. And it's different from just me clicking connect because there's a high chance that Omotolani is more reputable than I am, than she won't even accept my stuff. But the moment she sees a message, the probability of her accepting is much more higher. So you want to look for those firms, and sometimes couple of them I actually like just message their founders directly because when I worked for money, for instance, I messaged the founder directly, sent him my resume, and he connected me with the HR, and I got the job like 2 days after, and and that was it. So it's like, and probably like most of those jobs pay more than a couple of the firms you are chasing. And even when my internship at Nestle was basically by speaking to people on LinkedIn. I didn't go through like the normal process of applying to Nestle. I didn't have any application in Nestle. Spoke to somebody there. The person asked me about what I was learning in school. Then the person connected me with actual HR. And the first time I was going to Nestle was to do the medicals. So it's like you can shorten your process by some of these things and just knowing how to use some of these tools. So for Chevron, I know that they have proper internship rules. They release one, I think, in December, and they take people in January to June for like SciWest programs and all that. So if you have time or you're on holiday at that time, you can position yourself for some of those opportunities. And for a couple of finance firms, same thing. I know a couple of people that got internships in ARM by relationship, just speaking to the right people, and those people helping you to facilitate an interview. It's called referral. It's not nepotism. They refer you based on the fact that they see potentials in you. In short, a couple of these firms, when you refer people and the people do well, they pay you for referring them because it saves HR the stress of having to scout from a large crowd of people. So don't think of
Yeah.
it as, oh, you are less of a person because of you went through the referral method. In short, there are
Yeah.
certain companies you will never get roles in, like hedge
Without
funds
referral.
without referrals. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have just two more questions we're gonna be done. So I was asking, when applying for an internship role, does someone need to attach a cover letter to the resume? And let me just give an example. So when I was applying for ARM, then they asked for the CV and then they wrote cover letter and they wrote optional behind cover letter. But I was like, no, this time I was getting it. So I wrote a cover letter. I was like, because like though, like it could be a catch, right? And also it could be just if you want, right? But I knew what I was looking for, so I had to put the cover letter there and like luckily though I don't know if that was actually like made me get the first stage and second stage, but at least I did everything I wanted to do at least. So someone's asking like, do we need to attach a cover letter even if they don't ask for it during the
Uh,
application.
is there, if you probably have like a super good resume, you don't need to add like a cover. So there are some jobs I applied for that I never added cover letter, to be fair.
Okay.
But like I would strongly advise add cover letter. Like,
Yeah.
so I had this like Word document that when I do new things, I just write it there. I write it anywhere I like there. So I have like sections for volunteering, even till today. Some of my volunteering experience are not on my LinkedIn. So I just have them somewhere in that Word document. And when I need to craft a cover letter, I just go to that Word document, look at the opportunities or the roles, these things I've done before that align with that thing, and I use it to craft my cover letter. So that makes it easy for me to reduce like thinking of the best way to articulate it. So, but like if you think your resume is not solid enough, especially when they say cover letter is optional, ensure you write a good cover letter because that might be like an addition to complement your resume.
How can I check for startup companies? Is there a particular site to know for to check
So, so
about the startup?
I think I said you should go to if you go to Y Combinator.
Why
So
come? Okay. Can you
yeah,
just
if you
I'll
do
just
Y Combinator, nothing
it's
stressful. Yeah,
okay,
and
why come?
you're going to see like a couple of companies. These are top companies. You probably don't want to go there, but there's a way to see. Okay, startup jobs. I think they are here. So you can look at a couple of all these companies, and some of them are even like remote, and you can work with international companies from anywhere you are. And sometimes you don't even have to apply through this. Just look for the Nigerian ones. So that makes it a little bit easier. So you can add some filters and reduce like the opportunities, like say you are UX, UI person, you are a sales person, you are HR person, you're a product person. Most of the finance roles, you most likely see it as financial analyst or product analyst. So you want to look for those roles and actually like just apply for them through that particular stuff. So you can also check out co-founders, all those kind of things. If you are looking to start a startup, it's a very good opportunity. They have a startup school also if you are somebody that's interested in starting up something. So probably last thing I want to say is never lie on your resume, right?
Okay.
So I had a very bad experience with somebody I was trying to help them review their resume. They changed their graduation date for some reason, and it was really horrible. Like, and I didn't even know they changed that. So never lie on your resume because you remember the character thing. It comes back to character that if you can compromise under certain things, you can actually compromise in bigger things. So never lie on your resume. Project your experiences as simple as they are, and somebody somehow is going to find some value in them. So never lie on your resume. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.